Hi everyone, I'm sure you've heard of mixed methods research design, but what exactly is embedded mixed methods research design? So for those of you who don't know what mixed methods research is, it combines the elements of two types of research, quantitative and qualitative. But what is embedded research design? The embedded design is when the quantitative and the qualitative data are collected simultaneously, but the qualitative data is embedded within the quantitative data. This design is best used when you want to focus on the quantitative data, but still need to understand how the qualitative data further explains it. In today's video, I'm going to take up a few examples to explain to you the circumstances in which you use this research design. What are the challenges, the advantages, the disadvantages, and the key characteristics of this research design. So let's get started. So for those of you who don't know what embedded research design is or need to understand a few examples of it, let me start with a very simple example. Now let's say that the example here that you want to use research for is that you want to investigate the impact of a new teaching method on student test scores. So how will you go about embedding a mixed methods design? So here the primary method will be the quantitative method. Remember that. Okay, so you will measure the test scores of students in experimental and control groups. So what will be the embedded or the qualitative method? Here you will conduct the interviews with teachers to understand their experiences implementing the new teaching method and what challenges did they face. So the purpose or the overall aim of doing so will be that the qualitative data will provide the context for the quantitative results, explaining why the teaching method was effective or maybe not effective. Let's take another example. So here another example is, let's say you are trying to evaluate the effectiveness of a new diabetes management program. So the primary method or the quantitative method will be that if you use the biometric data of the patients, such as blood sugar levels, to assess the program's impact on patient health. So what will be the embedded method? The qualitative method. So then you can probably collect patient feedback through open-ended surveys or maybe interviews to explore their perceptions of the diabetes management program. So what will be your overall aim or purpose? Can you think about it? So the overall aim will be that the qualitative data will help you explain why patient stuck to certain patterns and the barriers they faced in completing this program or in even trying out this program. So that could be one of the aims for it. Let's take another example. Let's say you are trying to study the effect of new work from home policies on employee productivity. So think about it. What will be your quantitative or primary method? So here you could be analyzing productivity metrics such as output, task completion rates, and the embedded or the qualitative method could be where you could include a brief employee survey or focus group discussion to capture their views on how the policy impacts their work-life balance. And what will be the overall purpose? Well, the qualitative insights will explain the trends observed in the productivity data that you have collected through the quantitative surveys or quantitative other metrics. So what are the key characteristics that you have understood of this research design? Remember, here there is only one type of data, either qualitative or quantitative, and this is embedded within a primary methodology such as a quantitative or qualitative, to address a supplementary research question or to provide additional insights. Now, unlike designs where both methods have equal weight, the embedded design prioritizes one method while the other plays a supportive role. So in embedded research design, from what I have read, it's the qualitative method that plays the uh, embedded role and the quantitative method plays the primary role. So the key feature here is that the one method will serve as the core approach to addressing the main research question. The embedded method will provide you additional data to enrich, explain, or enhance the findings of the primary method. The data collection for the embedded method will occur or can occur rather concurrently or maybe sequentially with the primary method. You can do it together or maybe follow up one with the other. The two methods will address distinct but related questions, often at different levels. For example, you can investigate individual perceptions and then investigate the aggregate trends of a certain, say, let's say a lot of people are going for iPhone over Android. So then you can study further as to why they are going for iPhones over Androids. So that is an example. What are the advantages of using this method? Well, it provides richer insights by integrating data from the secondary method to support your primary approach. So no one will then be able to question you that, or rather or suggest or doubt that you have only used one approach, and that is why your findings are very limited. So if you can back it up with another approach, the embedded approach, and show that not only did you rely on one approach, but you kind of backed it up with some findings from a backup approach, then it kind of supports it. All right, so it supports it. Its mainly role is to support your primary method. Um, uh, Another thing is that it can address additional questions without overcomplicating the study design. So it's not like you have to go out and do data collection or collect data twice or thrice, or it's not very time consuming in terms of data collection. It's basically embedded, it's part of it. So then you can have some sub questions that you can answer using the backup method, or rather the embedded method. And it helps you to maintain a clear emphasis on the main research question while allowing you to explore some sub-research questions, which is normally a part of social sciences research as well. Some of the challenges is that sometimes it becomes very difficult to align the embedded method with the primary method. It's a bit complex, especially if the data types are not directly comparable. So, if you are studying perceptions, but through a quantitative method, and the qualitative method is not supporting the perceptions, it's finding out something else, then the researcher or the examiner who is studying your thesis will get a bit confused as to why did you use a backup approach, especially when the backup approach, the findings of that are not directly comparable to the primary method. So if you found perceptions in using the primary method, then the backup or rather the embedded approach, rather I should not be saying backup, the embedded approach should be supporting the findings through the perceptions. Also, it is very resource intensive, so it requires expertise in both qualitative and quantitative methodologies, even if you are using one in a very limited way. So of course this is a part of a challenge of mixed method research, and that's why a lot of people shy away from using it, because normally it takes a lot of time to gain expertise in even one methodology, forget about two. And then always there's a risk of overlooking some insights, because if the embedded method is not carefully designed, its potential contributions may be undervalued. So the findings that you get from the embedded design may, if it is not carefully thought of, if it does not support your findings, if it does not support the research investigation, then it looks like very silly. So before you embed it, remember to discuss with your supervisors, discuss with people who have used this method, read up a lot on it, make sure that you identify how you can integrate a qualitative within a quantitative to add value to your findings. If it doesn't add value, so one way of doing that is that you could do a small pilot survey. Try to conduct a small pilot survey and see if it is adding to the findings, and that way you can recognize the barriers to your data collection and correct them before you go out and collect data from a bigger sample. So I hope this video was useful to you. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I will see you soon with my next video. I will keep making videos on research designs, and I will try to use simple to understand or easy to understand examples so that anyone can understand it. Doesn't matter at what stage of the research investigation they are in. Bye for now.